My key message for you this evening is it's not the big things that happen to us in our lives that mess us up. It's the little things that happen day in and day out which really do screw us over and stop us from living the life that we actually want. So I want you to take 30 seconds and I want you to look down to the left and the right, to the person sitting next to you, and I want you to look at their shoes. And I want you to visualize what it would be like to walk in their shoes for a day. Because at the end of the day, and the big thing that we need to remember, is that everybody has their own journey to walk through in life. And the problem is at the moment is that we make assumptions about people where actually we have no idea what that person is going through or what that person has just faced or what they're about to face. And actually the reality is that we are stronger together and we need to start supporting each other. Because let's be honest, this thing called life, none of us are getting out of it alive. I've got 3 questions what I want to ask you about your life, because my talk has all been structured about you. So, once upon a time in a land not so far away, we were all very young children, and you had an idea of what you wanted to be in your life, and I want you to think about that for a moment. And then I want you to bring you to modern day. So it's the 3rd of November 2017, it's about 6:10 in the evening. Just imagine that today is the last day you're ever going to be here. What is the thought that just went through your head? Who's the person you want to call or you want to speak to? What is the thing that you wish you'd done? And then I want to take you to the future. It's your 80th birthday, and you're sitting there, and you're feeling really smug with yourself, and you're thinking, I did that. That was me. I did that. I owned that. I controlled that. That was all down to me. What is that thing that makes you feel... Because the reality is that we've all got dreams, hopes and wishes, but then life gets in the way and shit happens. And all of a sudden you wake up at the age of 50 and think, oh, wow, is this it? Wow, where did the last 25 years of my life go? Or is it just me because I'm fastly approaching 50? Some of the youngsters in the room are going, what the hell is she talking about? There's a slide that's going to come up, and there's 2 numbers on the slide, and some people in the room will know what it means because some of my colleagues are here and they've heard me talk about this before. But at the end of the speech, I'm going to bring you back to this, and this is really significant to my talk this evening. So I want to go back over here when we were all children. And we're 10 years of age, and we have this vision of what our life is going to be like. You know, you're going to be really successful in school, you're going to be really friendly, everybody's going to get on with you, you're going to get to university, or you're going to have a really good job, you're going to meet the man of your dreams, you're going to have children, you're going to buy that house that you want, you're going to have that car. I know some of these are materialistic. Some of you might want to go to Kathmandu and help rebuild it. And then all of a sudden you're 40, you're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. And you're sitting there surrounded by your family, and you've looked back to your life. Well, actually, if I look back down that is what I call the Disney life timeline, because it only really happens in films. Because the reality is that we have what's called life's oops moments. And this isn't a pity party, and I know there's some people in the room that have faced a lot more than I have, but I just want to spend the next couple of minutes talking to you about my life's oops moments. So at the age of 4, my parents were publicans, and we lived in the backstreet pubs of Liverpool. My father was an ex-Royal Marine. He was built like an out-of-brick house. He was 6'4", and you did not mess with my dad. But my parents liked to party. It was the early 70s. And they used to go out partying, and they used to leave me on my own. And I used to phone 999 and tell the police quite happily that my parents had left me at home. And the key thing I remember about that time was my mum saying to me, if you don't stop calling them, they're going to take you off us. And then I was 8, and all of a sudden, this boy that I'd been playing with for 2 days suddenly turned out to be my brother, who I didn't even know existed, because my mum had been married before. And they had to explain to me how my mum had been married before, and this was my brother. And roughly around about that time, my parents decided to get divorced because there was lots of things going on. And on top of that, my body decided that it was going to give me my periods. So at the age of 8, I started having my periods. At the age of 11, I was really proud of myself. I passed my 11 plus in school, which was a big thing to do in Manchester. It meant that I was going places. I was destined to go to grammar school. I'd been bullied all my life. I'd been to 13 schools by the time I was 11. My parents had moved around a lot. And then all of a sudden, we were moving to Wales, and we moved here. Glorious country, absolutely love Wales, but the education system at the time stinked. And it put me in the remedial classes, and I stayed in the remedial classes for 5 years. I was destined for grammar school. I then spent the next 30 years of my life thinking I was thick. I haven't got a good relationship with my mother, but that's a whole new TED talk altogether. And actually, when I went to look for my father, he didn't recognize me, and he thought I was the girl that was there to book the 18th birthday party, so that was an interesting conversation. But I then later found out that my father was terminally ill, and I got a phone call, and he died on Christmas Day at the age of 52. But I was also confronted with the fact that he'd recently got married, and I also had a 7-year-old brother. So I've gone from being a single child to having 2 brothers. So it's not all doom and gloom, because once upon a time I worked for a company called Eastman Kodak, and I was offered a job in the digital department. But I turned it down because I couldn't see the future in digital. We just launched a camera. We'd spent millions of pounds launching a brand new camera. I thought they were off their heads. Lo and behold, digital made Kodak bankrupt. And all along my life, because I had my first period when I was 8, I've had a lot of medical problems. So I was categorically told I'd never give birth. And so in 1997, I had an operation where half of everything was taken away. Not my womb, but everything else. And then in 1998, I conceived a boy. And in June 1999, I gave birth to a little boy who slept all the way through the pregnancy and then popped out and turned out to be autistic. So I've spent the last 18 years of my life fighting for my son to get the rights that he deserves, because nobody would believe he was autistic until he was about 15. And that really fueled me, because I was a single mum and I needed to support him. So I went self-employed and I bought my first business. I bought a franchise. And on the 3rd of August 2011, I was sitting in a pub in Ealing when the real IRA let a car bomb off outside. I was blown backwards, I damaged my back, and I couldn't work. The franchise company sold the franchise from underneath me for £1 3 months later. I later went bankrupt. That was my first bankruptcy. My accountant's in the room, I can't look at her. She held my hand on my second bankruptcy. But a month later, a team of people that I worked with in the city were in New York on 9/11. And I knew they were in the Twin Towers. I know the kids today can't understand this, but it took me 5 days to find out that these people were still alive, because there was no social media at the time and communications were on a complete lockdown. So for 5 days, I thought I'd lost 5 really good colleagues, but thank God they'd gone to a coffee shop across the road 10 minutes before the planes hit. And then, 7 years ago, I decided to follow my dream and opened, because they tell you, don't they? Follow your dream, do what you really want. And I'd always wanted a bridal shop. So I opened a bridal shop. £65,000 later. Unbeknown to me, my son took really ill, and I'd already been bankrupt once, so bankruptcy didn't bother me. So my accountant held my hand and we went bankrupt twice. And then, I'm 48 years of age and I've never been married, but I've got friends in the room that tell me, what are you worried for? Marriage isn't everything it's cracked up to be. And that's just a taste of what my life has been like. And I'm sure that your lives have been something similar, and I'm sure some of you haven't gone through half as much, and I'm sure some of you have gone through some really tragic moments. But the reality is I did not wake up one day and decide to screw my life over. Life's oops moments to me are what I call life's handbrakes. They are moments in their life that go, whoa, hang on a minute, should you really be doing this? You really shouldn't be on this path. This isn't for you. But you know what? People choose to ignore them and they plough through them. But if you go back to what your dreams and wishes and hopes were, nobody's going to come up to you and hand it to you on a plate. You have to have the courage to go out there and to go after your dreams. And when I'm 80, yes, I've been bankrupt, but I'll sit there and I'll think, yes, I did that. And what stops us is fear. And fear, there's 2 acronyms for fear: false evidence appearing real, which I don't like, or feel excited and ready, which I really do like. And I also heard another one this morning, and I do apologise for the language. It was everything and run. which really appealed to me about 5 to 6 this evening, when all the speakers were going, oh my God, I've forgotten what I was going to say. Because the reality is, to me, the two things that mess with our lives every single day, and I am about to drop the F-bomb again, and it's not what you think it is, and it's something that you tell yourself every single day. And the problem is it's the biggest lie that you tell yourself, and you believe it. You believe this thing, and it stops you dead in your tracks, and it stops you from doing what you want to do, and your life becomes a routine. Oh, hello, it's the 3rd of November. Who's with me when I say, where did this year go? Never mind this year. Wait till we get to one of those figures. Where did this year go? Because the word is, I'm fine. No, you're not fine. I'm 6 stone overweight. I'm not fine. You know, I'm hurting my health. You're in a loveless marriage. That's not fine. Or your best friend's just spoken to you like you're a pile of poo. That's not fine. Or you're doing a job that you really don't like. That's not fine. Or you've got more month than money. That is not fine. So stop telling yourself you're fine, because the person that you are hurting the most is you. Because if you are fine, you won't do anything about it. And the second thing that's really screwing us over is the real 6 inches in our lives. Not a man's 6 inches. The real 6 inches, right? And it's the distance between this and this. And if you are in your head, you are behind enemy lines, and you need to get out quickly. Because if I was to come along and put a broadcast button on the side of your head, and we broadcast what was going on inside your head at the moment, you would be locked up for your own safety. Never mind the other 110 people in this room. So, you're not fine, and the thoughts that are going on in your head are just circular thoughts. They're never ending. It's a bit like the M25, if you've ever been on that. It's like you get on and you get off at your own will. You take your life in your own hands. Because what happens is worry and fear sets in, and before you know it, you are paralyzed. And you stop doing stuff. And it's the 3rd of November, and you're thinking, where's this year gone? So I ask you, what do you want from your life? What is it that you want to do? When we were over here and you were that child, I wanted to be an air hostess. And the reality of today, what is it that you want to do? What is it that you want to achieve by the end of this year? And then you're 80. What do you want to be known for? And there is nothing wrong with just being known as having that massive family and looking after them. You don't have to go out and change the world. Just looking after your family is a lot more than some other people are doing right at this moment in time. Because the fact is that nobody is going to give you your dreams. I've said this already. Nobody's going to come and hand it to you on a plate. You have got to do something called activation energy, right? And you are in control of this. You have this amazing thought. Oh, I could do that. I could be up there. What's she talking about? I could be doing better than her. You have this amazing thought, and you literally have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 seconds before your brain goes, oh, no, you don't want to be doing that. Oh, remember when you did that last time? Oh, yes, and last time you did that, last time you spent that much money and you put it all on your credit card, you went bankrupt. Because So what happens is we talk ourselves out of it instantly. So something I use all the time is I say to myself, it's simple, it's easy, it's fun, because it reprograms the brain and it stops you from being, oh, you don't want to do that, I'm not going anywhere near that. And I might say to myself, it's simple, it's easy, and it's fun. And I might say that to myself 10,000 times in one day. And that's enabled me to actually get out of bed and get dressed. Because the reality is that some days I just do want to stay in bed and eat ice cream and watch Jeremy Kyle. So my leaving thought with you this evening is these figures. 4160, let's start at the bottom and work up. You know, a bit like the picture, powering hands coming through. 4160, that is the number of weeks that you will live if you hit your 80th birthday. My dad lived for 2,704 weeks because he died at the age of 52. He never got to that figure. You've only got 4,160 weeks to do this. And the big number at the top, 1,000, oh, mathematicians in the room. I'm in marketing, it's why I don't do maths. 1 in 400 trillion. Now that's a massive number. And there's been a lot of research done in this recently. 4 in 100 trillion. In order for you to be sitting here listening to me with the DNA that you've got, with the colour of eyes and the colour of your hair, to be born on the birthday that you're born in, to the parents that you're born in, that's the equation. 1 in 400 trillion. You have got more chance of winning the national lottery than you have sitting here today. And there's 7.2 billion people in this earth. You've got important stuff to be getting on with. You are here for a reason. Do not tell yourself that you are useless or you are no good. You've got stuff to do, and I challenge you to get on and do it. My name's Shamaine Robinson. It's been my absolute pleasure to talk to you this evening. Thank you.